Hey guys, it's Bonnie and I am the owner and designer behind Archer and Olive. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Every week I thought it'd be fun to post a video showcasing the various projects that you can see on my Instagram. If you aren't following us on Instagram, I've put a link in the comments below. Today I'm going to be doing the March Plan With Me spread. I will be using our Archer and Olive notebook. And one of my favorite things about these notebooks is the extra thick pages, so you're not gonna get a lot of that ghosting. It's not gonna show through on the other side. I will also be using the Tombow mono drawing pens. I use the 03 tip for creating some of the larger boxes and titles, and I use the 01 tip for some of the artwork and the details. Now I also work with a straight edge, but you absolutely don't have to use one if you don't feel comfortable with it. I just like the nice crisp lines. So let's go ahead and hop on over to my desktop and we'll get started. March is all about spring. I love this time of year because the weather starts to warm up and everything starts coming back to life. You can really find inspiration everywhere. So for this month's theme, I'm going to be doing spring leaves. Of course, if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I am a huge fan of all things floral. So I decided there's no better way than to kick off my YouTube channel than by making my March theme be all about leaves. So I like to keep all of my layouts pretty simple, and I'm only going to be using pen and ink for this month's theme. To create the illustrations, I am going to be using the Tombow mono drawing pen. Right now I'm using the 03 tip. Now I like this tip because it gives me a bit of a thicker line, and so it's really gonna make the illustrations stand out. So now I'm going to start creating the monthly overview, and again I'm using that 03 tip for the header because there's just a bit more to color in with those bold headers. Sometimes I like to draw the headers with the Tombow Fudenosuke pen, but today I'm just going to be doing some of the faux calligraphy strokes. And now if you're interested in how I did this, I'm going to be posting a handwriting tutorial in the next few months. And so you can learn how I'm doing that faux calligraphy. So drawing these leaves is just a really relaxing process for me. Sometimes I have problems with anxiety, and it's just really comforting to draw these familiar shapes over and over again. I think there's something about the repetition that has a calming effect. And it's just really nice to clear your head for an hour or so and kind of space out with some doodling. So one place I really like to draw a lot of inspiration, especially these leaves on, is in my backyard. We kind of have a nice creek down there with lots of trees and just a lot of plants in general, and there's a nature trail. Earlier this week I was taking a walk on that nature trail, and I noticed that like all the plants are starting to grow and come back to life. Here in Texas, the wildflowers also start making an appearance this time of year, so I'm really excited to see the first bluebonnets start popping up. It's also going to be about time for the fireflies to make an appearance. I was thinking like maybe one of the months to come I would do a spread with fireflies. Anyway, so walking was just really relaxing, and it got me excited about the warmer weather, which is hopefully right around the corner. It's also been raining a lot this year, so I'm hoping that the plants are going to be staying green for longer, and then maybe we'll even get lucky and have water in the creek all summer. Okay, so right now I'm going to be drawing out the calendar portion. So for these lines, I am using the 01 tip. And I kind of like that tip because it's really good for writing the smaller details. You can kind of fill in the dates and the days of the week. Now, as you can see, I'm also going to be using that straight edge because I prefer like a really crisp line. Though the good thing about the dot grid notebook is that you don't have to have a straight edge because the dots, of course, enable you to draw a line. All you have to do is connect the dots. I like using the monthly overview spread because the days really have a way of sneaking up on you. So while March 31st sounds like so far away, it's going to be here before you know it. So what I like to do is go ahead and put the bigger goals on this page, and then that way I can break each goal up into like smaller tasks and put them on my weekly layouts. And I'm also including a note section for any thoughts or tasks that I have that I'm just not quite ready to schedule out. Now, this next page is the notes page. And this is just really for all those random thoughts and just any doodles that I feel like drawing. I like to use this page to kind of write down new product ideas, new video ideas, or basically just like general thoughts on how I can improve Archer and Olive. I like this page because it's really good for getting your ideas down on paper when you're not quite ready to fully commit and have them fully fleshed out. So like sometimes you'll be in the middle of doing a task and then a good idea will hit and you don't want to lose it. So the notes page is a really good place to write that down. It's also really good to write things down because then you can come back to them when you're not feeling as inspired. So it kind of goes hand in hand with this next layout, which is our goals layout. And the idea behind this layout is that you're going to write down like the top 3 to 5 goals you want to achieve this month. And I say this month, but it doesn't have to be this month. It could be something maybe you want to achieve this year, but you can get started taking the first steps towards meeting that goal right now. So what you want to do is you want to write down the 5 goals you have, and then you want to break them down into smaller tasks. This page is like so critical for me because I get really overwhelmed when I have a large goal, such as like start a successful YouTube channel. But when I break it down into smaller tasks, it doesn't seem so overwhelming and it's just a lot easier to accomplish. Like, for example, if my goal is to start a successful YouTube channel, maybe my first step is going to be sign up on YouTube. And then maybe it's write a list of all the videos I want to record. And then I would make a plan for the very first video. So each of those 3 smaller steps is going to be a lot easier to accomplish than the larger goal, which is start a successful YouTube channel. And then once I get those first 3 goals done, I'm already that much closer to reaching that larger goal. Finally, we are going to be moving on to our weekly spread. I draw 5 of these, so 1 for each week of the month. But of course, I'm only going to show you guys 1 here. And then the idea behind this layout is just to have a place to write like all your day-to-day tasks. And this is the one that I use the most. Like, I'm seriously probably flipping back to this page about 700 times a day. It's really important for writing down those smaller steps that we talked about on the goals page. And then of course you have to write down like the day-to-day, the stuff that comes with work and just life in general. And one thing I would say on this page is I think that it's really important that you don't overschedule yourself. Try to always be honest about the amount of time you think a task is going to take and like the amount of tasks that you can reasonably handle in a day. It's like really discouraging to have a ton of tasks on the to-do list and not be able to get to all of those. And I find once you get discouraged with something, you're not going to be likely to continuing with it. So definitely recommend starting slow. It's kind of like exercise in that way. So if you start off trying to run like 10 miles, you're probably going to have a really bad time and you're never going to want to do it again. So it's important to start smaller by maybe running 1 lap around the field. So in that way, that's kind of a way I like to think about it. It's good to just think out each task, consider how much time it's going to take, then you can schedule those tasks accordingly. One thing I also like to do is leave a few hours of buffer in my day because things are always like gonna unexpectedly pop up on you. And then anyways, that way if at the end of the day you find that you have some time left over, you can go ahead and get started on tomorrow's tasks. And that is just a really good feeling. So as you can see, I'm keeping up with the leaves theme by decorating the border of my page with some of the leaves. And again, just using that 03 tip because I really want the illustrations to stand out. I'd love to see your guys' layouts that are inspired by my leaves, so tag me on Instagram and I can take a look. Make sure that you actually tag us in the photo and not just the comments because sometimes I will miss the comments. And don't worry, I'm going to put our Instagram handle in the comments below. And so each month I'll be choosing a few of my favorite layouts to share with you on my Instagram stories. One thing about my weekly layouts is I like to use the vertical columns. I find that you can just fit more tasks in this way. And then of course we've got the note section at the bottom of the page. What I like to do is put all the crucial tasks in there first, and then in the note section I can write out the not so crucial ones, and then once I see kind of how my week's going, I can schedule the additional items out. And then I'm also going to be splitting that last box into 2 separate boxes, and I'm going to use that for the weekend. So the column starts on Monday, and then the last 2 days are going to be Saturday and Sunday, just because I'm never trying to plan as much on my weekend. It's just important for me to take some time off, relax, and just hang out with my family. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have in the comments below, or you can find me on our Instagram. I'm also going to be putting a link to all of the supplies I used in the comments below, including the Archer and Olive dot grid journals. They're ideal for you if you're looking for a book with thicker pages. The paper is 160 GSM, so like nothing is going to be ghosting through to the other side. And the exciting news is that we're getting a few of the new designs in just a few short weeks, so make sure you check those out. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys have an excellent March.